Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Reselling Rhythms. I'm your host, Adam, with Adam's Exploits. I'm just going to say hello to a few people, and then we'll let the chat fill in. I did see the notice went out half an hour early, which is nice because sometimes it doesn't go out. Sometimes it goes out early. Sometimes it goes out an hour into the show. So that we should have a decent amount of people in the chat already. So I'm just going to say hello to a few people. I saw who was here. Craig was here. Mama was here. Of course, Kimmy, my wonderful moderator, is here. Miss Borderline Hoarderish. We have, again, I said Mama, which is ex-Shy Dove. If you guys don't know, that's Darlene's mother-in-law. We have Hetty. We have another great moderator, Miss Kathleen, this and that. We have Alex's mother, Amma G. Thanks for joining us, Amma. And we have, let's see, a few more people filling in. We have Michelle Lathan, who I always tell people, if you need a lifeline on any kind of game show, you want Michelle because she's the best. So it's a great moderator, but she has uncanny amount of knowledge. So again, we'll give like another 30-second, guys. Then I'll introduce our guest, and then I'll have him, what I typically do is have him explain, who he is, where he's from, how he got involved, started in reselling. Then we'll kind of roll in. Like I said, he'll do a little package of what, about himself. And then we'll roll in and start talking about the various platforms he sells on. And then hopefully we'll have time at the end. I'll have some questions he'll be able to answer. Because he has a wealth of knowledge. He's been doing this for a long time. And hopefully he can educate us because he's, like I said, the man knows what he's talking about. So I guess Ricardo's in there. There's my friend Carol from Massachusetts. Hello, Carol. Hello. I always pronounce this. I apologize. They pronounce it Slyosha cells. I know I could be pronouncing that wrong. I apologize if I am. Okay, well, you see who our guest is. He just said hello to everybody. Our guest is Mr. Rise and Grind Picker, Shane. Let me stop presenting to everybody, and then we'll get over to him, and we'll have him introduce himself. Okay, Mr. Shane, you should be let's see. You should be Why don't you talk and see if we can get you in the screen here.
Awesome. Thanks for having me on, Adam. I appreciate it. So I'm Shane the Rising Guard Picker, and so what I do is I sell on eBay and Amazon. But for the most part, this year will be the first year I'll hit six-figure numbers, as well as probably profiting six figures. And, I do YouTube. I am on Instagram. So I pretty much sell anything that makes me a buck. And we can get into that in the video about what I sell and how I source it and the different types of stuff I sell.
Okay, now where are you from originally, and where were you? I mean, I don't need your town, but what part of the country are you located in?
So I'm from Illinois originally, and I live in Illinois still. And so next year we're looking to move to Alabama, down by the coast, down by like Mobile, Gulf Shores area. And that's going to be an awesome move because the beach is just right there. So
I know you had talked about that. You wanted to be, so you figure you can source in Florida, you can source in Alabama. And obviously the weather is nice down there.
Absolutely.
It doesn't hurt that you're close to the beach.
Yeah, and yard sales, pretty much year round.
Correct.
Besides a couple months,
and obviously that's where the big margins are typically. Not always. Some people go on eBay to set their prices for yard sales, but typically that's where you get your great margins. And we'll talk about that later. Some of the tricks and things you do at yard sales to get the prices you want to get.
Yep. This and that says we have Effingham, Illinois in common. So I grew up 20 minutes from Effingham, Illinois, and she is from Effingham, Illinois. And so that's definitely awesome. She had reached out to me a long time ago. She's been a pretty loyal follower for a long time. So
Kathleen's a special lady, and she has a cat, and that was her husband's cat. I guess it's like a one-person kind of cat, but anyway, his name is Toby, so we call him Mr. Toby.
Yes.
And my friend, another moderator in our chat, is Carol Bargain Shopping, and she has a golden retriever whose dog's name is Toby. We call him Mr. Toby. So
that's awesome.
There's two Mr. Tobys.
A lot of Tobys running around.
Bianca, welcome from Germany, and I see Crystal is here as well. Thanks for joining us, guys. We're gonna get into this a little bit, and Shane's gonna educate us. He's been doing this for a long time. He's older than he looks. Let's put it that way. He's held up well over the years.
Yeah, I'm 31. I turned 32 in 5 more days. So,
and I know you have a Great Dane.
Yeah, a Great Dane and a pit bull. It's a rescue pit bull. So we rescued him at a year old. and he had been in the shelter for a year.
Wow.
So probably one of the
Long
most
time, especially for a bit to be in a shelter.
Absolutely. And he's a great dog. And then we have a Great Dane. She's a year old and she's
She's eating out
huge.
of house and hold, a house and home.
She's gigantic. She's huge.
Ginormous.
Yeah, she's a big dog. And so I have, it's me and my wife, and I have a daughter. She's 10, Madison. And so yeah, I mean, we just my wife's, she works full time. I am still employed full time, but that's going to be changing very soon. So
now, is your wife like in a field that's transferable when you guys move down to the Alabama area?
No, so she actually works for a school district, and she helps. She's a teacher's aide in a classroom with like autistic children.
Okay, well, I mean, obviously there's jobs for autistic, aides and teachers and whatnot, and like I mean, I've had Thelma Thrift on, and that's what she specializes in, and she's a she's a school teacher, but I mean, she specializes in autistic and special needs children. But I give those people all the credit in the world. I mean, that's you have to have the heart, you have to have the strength.
Yes.
I really believe me, my heart goes out to those people, because I can imagine how difficult it is.
Well, I think
when being a parent is, yet alone when you have an autistic child, like Crystal's child. I mean, she shared it with us. Her son's extremely smart and talented and gifted, but again, he's autistic and he has some issues, and she's sort of homeschooling him. It's not really homeschooling, but he does it online, but she kind of helps homeschool him.
Nice.
So I mean, I can imagine having a full classroom and being responsible for all those children that have special needs. So I mean, I give those people all the credit in the world.
Well, I think when we moved to Alabama, she's gonna probably focus on. She does photography right now on the side, so nice. She's probably gonna focus on that. And I don't know if she was joking or not, but she mentioned about trying to set up a snow cone stand on the beach. So I think that was actually, I think she was actually being serious about that. So
I remember back in the day. You probably remember, I'm from New Jersey. I'm about an hour and a half from New Jersey. We call it the shore, the beach. I mean, people call it different things, but I remember back in the day, Atlantic City was the place to be, and then Atlantic City kind of went downhill. That's why they have the casinos now. So then we would go to Ocean City, and I always remember the guys with those big, huge straps on their shoulders with these big, huge just insulated coolers, and they have all kind of ice cream in there. It's like, how did as a child, I'm thinking, how did these guys walk around the beach all day long in that hot sun with that huge cooler?
Nathan, we're going to be moving down by Foley, Alabama.
You said that's kind of like near the Panhandle somewhere?
Yeah, it's I think like an hour maybe away. So Foley is like directly about 30 minutes. We're going to move around that area somewhere, about 30 minutes from Mobile. It'll probably be about 45 minutes from Gulf Shores.
Did you see Cammie's comment, borderline orders?
What'd she say?
She says maybe she could call it slaying snow cones, wear a Santa hat and sell snow cones.
Yes. That's awesome.
Seaside Heights, Deb. Yeah, Seaside Heights is on the Jersey northern shore. I dated a woman for about 7 years up from that area, and we used to go to Seagirt. That's where we used to hang out. So that's kind of in the same vicinity as Seaside Heights.
Nathan, absolutely, you can come visit, man.
Anytime. Come visit?
Anytime.
All right, guys. Now we got the little chit chat and the friendly banner going on here. Let's get a little bit into the reselling. So I know you sell on eBay. I know you do FBA on Amazon. I believe you do some local sales as well. You use various apps, and I guess occasionally you will handle like larger hard good items, I guess, to resell locally, so you don't have to ship it. Why don't you get in a little bit about the different platforms you're on, and you just start wherever you would like.
So when I first started out in reselling, I was that was 2005, and I've been selling on eBay since 2005, off and on. And so about 3 years ago, I had $20 in my savings account, and I was working a crappy corporate job. And me and my wife, I worked in corporate retail, so I made good money, but we lived well beyond our means. Like we lived, I was making up here and we were living up here. And so virtually I had about $20 in my savings account, and I said, I got to figure this out. Like we're broke, we're way over debt. And so I started really hitting eBay hard. My cash flow wasn't the best, but we were still able to pay, a down payment on our house, pay off a lot of debt. And then I got into Amazon. and I've been doing Amazon FBA for in August. It'll be 1 year, and I started out merchant fulfilling. I failed at that, and then basically started FBA like 2 years later. So my account's like three years old, and started having a lot of success with it. And for the most part, before I started FBA, I was doing local sales. I was doing a lot of Mercari, and I did a little Poshmark. Never really listed nothing on Poshmark. I just created an account, but I was doing like listings on Mercari and eBay. I started a Poshmark, and I was going to start listing. And when I started FBA, I said, I have to get rid of all this stuff. So I told myself, I said, if I want to be really good at reselling, I'm going to have to pick 2 platforms. So I picked eBay and Amazon. And other than that, now just my local apps, all I use those for are just buying stuff to sell. I don't sell on there anymore. I don't, the one place I do sell at is all my returns for Amazon. I do buy a lot of bulk purchases. So a lot of the stuff I don't want to sell, I'll make box lots.
You're buying liquidation, is that what you're referring to?
Some of that, and then also I'll just buy out like some estates. I'll have people contact me from Craigslist because I run ads on there to buy stuff, and I'll go to their house and they might have 4 things, but then they throw in 30 other things. And that's just how I negotiate. And a lot of this stuff I have them throw it in to get the price down because it seems like a better deal to them. But then I will just box slot a lot of that stuff up and send it to a consignment auction house.
Right. I mean, that's what people do. They do those lots, and they,
yep,
bunch them together, and that's how they do well. And I've seen you operate on your videos and yard sales. We'll get into that later.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so now you just strictly source now on the local apps. When you were selling on the local apps, I mean, everybody talks about Facebook Marketplace. What I mean, I guess it depends on the area you're in. I mean, OfferUp might work well somewhere. Seems like Facebook Marketplace kind of works well everywhere.
Actually, Facebook Marketplace was bad in my area.
Was it really?
Yeah, I couldn't really sell a lot. Like, I had done storage units for like 2 years back in like 2007 and 2008. So that was before Facebook Marketplace. And back then, Facebook was still good, but Craigslist was better. And I would buy a storage unit and post this stuff on Craigslist and already go into the profit by the time I got it loaded in the trailer.
You'd already have things sold before you even left the facility.
Yep, absolutely. Wow. And I would just post in the area on Craigslist. So
taking pictures right in the storage unit, or
oh yeah, I would take them right on the ground outside of the storage unit and post them on Craigslist. And I had a lot of success that way. And it seems a little weird, but I had a lot of success that way. And believe it or not, before Facebook Marketplace, I actually did better on the Facebook garage sale sites before they invented the marketplace. I just did a lot more sales on those. I don't know why. I dabbled in Facebook Marketplace like a year ago, and I just could not sell anything. So I took everything down just because what I think it is my area is there's a lot of people selling on Facebook Marketplace. And so it's really saturated.
That you had better success when you sold in the various local groups. I mean, I belong to a couple of groups just, eventually I want to get involved in that.
Yeah, I had way more success in the local groups. Like I would go to a town and I would pick the yard sale city in the town. And when I was doing storage units, I would pick 3 or 4 or 5 towns around me and post each thing in every group. And I would usually sell it by the end of the day. Depending on if my price was right and everything, I would sell it pretty quick.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, that's why you paid, I guess, for a third or a half of usually of your storage locker.
Yeah, and so I have sold a little bit on Let Go and OfferUp. I've had a lot more success on Let Go and OfferUp than I have ever on Facebook Marketplace.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm just from my experience, like I tell people in my chat, I'm not an expert on anything.
Well, and
I just like learning, and I'm connected with a lot of resellers. I belong to a lot of different reselling groups. I watch a lot of YouTube, and my whole family were school teachers. My sister's a school teacher. My father and mother are school teachers. So it's the genes kind of in me. And I feel like, being that I have some medical issues and I'm working out in my home part-time, I enjoy doing YouTube, and you make friends, connect with people, and I feel like I'm accomplishing something if I can help somebody, make some money and educate them.
Absolutely. And so like in bigger areas, like you're in New Jersey and I think Facebook Marketplace would be phenomenal in those areas because you have a lot of
That's
people.
what I would think. But again, I don't. I purchased like some bikes and stuff at a estate sale, but I never got up because that's when I have some medical issues.
Mhm.
I never sit in my closet, so I'm going to probably list those, locally on, like I said, on the groups or on the Facebook Marketplace. See, on
Mhm.
the Facebook Marketplace, for some reason, I keep getting like Philadelphia listings. So I set it for like 10
Yep.
miles, and I'm like 4 miles from Philadelphia. So all these
Yep.
listings come up in Philadelphia. I'm not going to Philadelphia, especially who knows what neighborhood this stuff is in, I mean, there's some nice sections of Philadelphia, like any big city, but there's also some not so nice sections.
Well, and I've been in some pretty shady situations from Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist both. I lived in Indiana for a brief time, and Terre Haute. I live near Terre Haute, and it's a very bad area. And there was this video game stuff someone posted, and I'm like, okay, great. And they wanted $30. I'm like, I'll make a few hundred from this.
Right.
I pulled up, and there was just a group of guys standing out there, baggy pants, dreads, and I'm like, oh shoot, this is not going to be good. I got out of the car.
Is it worth the $200?
And they're like, who are you? And I'm like, I'm looking for Ray. And they're like, oh, are you for the video game stuff? I'm like, yep. And they're like, let's go. And like 4 guys escorted me in this house.
Where? Uh-oh.
And dude, I was like, I'm a goner.
You got a pocket full of cash out. Not a pocket.
I'm a goner.
Your pocket.
And I went in there and he's like, oh, you're here for the video game stuff? And he's like, oh, here it is. And I gave him the money and I walked away and everything was good. But I'm pretty sure they were selling some other stuff out of that house other than video game stuff, if you get what I'm saying.
Kimmy has a question. Do you have any items or categories you prefer to list?
Not really. Like for me, I used to love to do vintage clothing. I still do it, but it's just a grind now. And I think a lot of stuff that you sell, it's a grind, and you have to just stay up on it. The one stuff the stuff I really like to list on eBay is like maybe vintage postcards or, vintage paper items or just like antique kind of stuff, but I pretty much list everything. I have new stuff, I have used stuff. I'm my eBay store, like I want it to be the Walmart of eBay. That's my goal.
How many, I mean, you don't have to give me details, but how many listings do you have on eBay?
I got 149 to approve right now, so I'll have about 500. Okay. But the crazy part is
you're around that 500 mark.
Yeah. The crazy part is actually before that I was around 300, 330, and I was doing about $2,500 to $3,000 in sales a month.
That's pretty darn good.
So
your sell-through rate was very high.
Yeah, I was just getting stuff that
your average sale price was higher too, obviously.
Yep, and obviously I would have those items that I had in my store for a year and would occasionally sell, but I was really focusing in on, even lately, been focusing in on stuff that sells quick. But the other problem is I'm so tied up with Amazon, I will sell a bunch and then I won't list for another 2 weeks. And that's really like, it hurts your sales a lot when you do that.
Tell me about it. Ever since I went to this good, I've told people and I've shared that with me. Ever since I went to Good Till Cancel, my sales have been worse than terrible. Again, that's partly my fault. It's partly my medical, but I know I see people that have a lot worse medical conditions than I do. And, they muddle through and they get stuff listed and they get things done because it's the old saying, you got to feed the beast. If you don't list, you perish on eBay. I mean, I'm paying for promoted listings. I have not a lot, but I have maybe a quarter of my store is new goods that I'm selling. I get a third of suggested retail, and they're still not selling.
Right.
Somebody suggested I mark things up like 25, 30% and run like a 20% off sale. So that's something I might try for the July 4th weekend.
Yeah, and that might work. I mean, I typically don't run any sales.
Right.
I don't adjust my prices. I put best offer on every single item, and I do the promoted listings.
Now, do you go with the suggested rates? Do you do like a 1 or 2%? How do you do your promoted listings?
So what I do is I'll do like 1, 2, 3%, and I'll let it run for 6 days, and I will shut that promoted listings campaign down, and then reset it at trending amount and put a new one out there after 6 days. And I'll do that every
your experience. That's been successful doing it that way.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I guess you just tinkered with it to see which works best.
Well, I did like a little bit of a test and experiment, and I did promoted listings at like 2% for a month, and had pretty good sales. And I turned promoted listings off completely. That next month, I was still listing the same, still doing everything the same, and my sales were cut in half. And then I actually did the promoted listings. Like what I did from that is I took those 2 months and I looked. And that first month, I did one campaign. And it after 6 to 8 days, it went like this, and then the clicks went poof.
That's what happened.
And it just tanked. And so I literally started shutting them down and restarting them every 6 days.
That's an idea. I might try doing it.
And I mean, I've told other people this, like John Johnson, and he's like, that's crazy. And he tried it, and he sold like 600-700 in one day. And he's like, this is double what I've been doing for a day.
Like I had Chris Thrift Shop Hustler on. He always says pro tip. That's a pro tip.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I mean, do I have any evidence to back it up? Not really, but I have.
You have empirical evidence. I mean, you
right.
did it, and it was successful for you. Now, the old saying, your mileage may vary. I mean, you may have more one-off items that are more popular, and I might have a bulk item clothing that's oversaturated. So it might vary for me.
Oh, and the other thing is, like, when you do that, you still have to list. That's the key.
True.
You still have to try to do daily listings, or take 20 items. Take pictures of 20 items and then list 5 a day.
And that's the other thing that I've learned again, and I tell people all the time: do as I say, not as I do. But batching things, doing batches of photos, doing batches of measuring. If you're doing clothing, measure everything. Write up your little description, and then batch your photos, and then do all your listings from that information, and upload all your pictures.
I will tell you though, and I'm going to tell you this right now. In the last week, eBay has been the roughest I've ever seen it, because I have canceled 15 orders and taken back 4 returns in 1 week.
Canceled 15 orders? Why? They want like address changes or little?
Oh no, they just changed their mind.
They changed their mind. And
ever since they announced that crash sale, I have been canceling orders left and right.
Kidding.
And I think what's happening is a lot of Amazon customers are coming to check out eBay. And on Amazon, a lot of orders get canceled every day. I get 4 or 5 a day that gets canceled. And I think we're going to see a serious trend, and it may not be a good trend.
Again, I keep coming back to this. Again, I'm not an expert, but that really concerns me that eBay is trying to be Amazon.
Yep. eBay
be eBay. You're not Amazon.
Well, I think I'm actually
be a better eBay.
I'm actually going to take free returns off, because I've been doing free returns for a year, and I just took a $149 return, and that's my 3rd return in 2 days.
Now, and that include plus shipping, or that included the shipping? But still,
oh no,
$149 is a lot of money.
Free shipping.
Free shipping. Oh.
And that's my 3rd return in 2 days I've taken.
I mean, what they have to realize that eBay is, I mean, granted, you're I wouldn't say you're a huge seller, but you're on the larger volume size seller than the typical eBay seller. But I mean, the little, mom and pop and people like myself that do this part time or do it as a second job, they're not doing that kind of volume. They can't take those kind of hits.
Well, and it was a brand new item too, and then they used it, and then they
messed up the packaging and everything else.
Yep.
Now, again, I'm not 100% certain, but with eBay now, don't they allow you to do a partial? If you do free returns, do a partial?
No. If you do free returns,
if you do free returns, you could do some kind of partial if it comes back in not original condition.
You might be able to.
I would definitely contact eBay.
Yeah.
You already refunded, or you haven't?
No, not yet. But the only problem is with eBay is you're going to sit on hold for about 4 hours, and I had the same situation.
Well, I'm sorry.
Right. I had a situation a while back ago where the people, they were like, hey, it didn't get delivered, and it showed delivered. And I literally was on hold for 4 hours to even solve the situation. Finally, they ruled in my favor and said, okay, whatever. But, I mean, good luck doing that every time, because right now, eBay, their strategies are changing drastically than a year ago. So if they take that away, I wouldn't be surprised at all. They might do that once a month, but if you're hitting them up 3-4 times a week, they're going to put a stop to it.
Well, the last 2 years, again, I was there last year. I wasn't there the year prior, but again, I know people that went to eBay Open last year.
Right.
Everyone who purchased the ticket received free concierge service.
Right.
So, I mean, to me, I mean, I don't do a lot of volume, but if I did any kind of volume, 90% of the time you get state-based customer service, and your wait time is probably a tenth of what it typically would be. I know some people have tricks they call at certain times of day to try to get, you know, Utah-based customer service, whatever, but concierge service alone is worth its weight in gold. And again, I'm a small-time seller. I'm not a big-time seller. Somebody like you don't have the time to be, or you could do the callback number too.
Well, and Tommy says you don't even have to call. It's in the order to decide how much to keep. Right. And that's the other problem is if you do that a lot, you're going to start getting negative feedbacks. And for me, like when you're selling $150 branding products, if I kept 50%, they're going to neg me. They're not going to be happy.
50, but I mean, even I mean something new like that. I mean, you're probably going to take at least a 25 or 30% hit, right? You're selling new.
I had a very I probably had a little bit into it, but I'll probably take like a 15% hit.
If you sell it like new, okay.
Yeah,
shipping.
I could
ways.
I sold it for 150. I could probably turn it used like new for like 80 to 90, maybe even 100, maybe even 100. Okay. But you know, it just depends.
eBay for Business. Yeah, I never really got involved in eBay for Business. How do you contact them? Through their
Facebook app? Yeah. But for the most part, like, and here's the thing I want to like really reiterate is if you're selling on volume on Amazon, like I'm doing, how much is your time worth? Is your time worth $50 for 4 hours? Or, you know, I mean, because the last issue I had, I contacted eBay. I did all the proper channels. I had to sit on hold with them for 4 hours. That was the only, they called me back. Then I called them back. It was back and forth. And I had to call them 3 separate times. What's your time worth? You know what I mean? And I think that's what you have to ask yourself. I could have sent out 300 pounds of Amazon inventory and they take care of returns. They take care of all that. I don't have to mess with it.
Susan, I don't share my story again. I told you I don't know how long you've been following my channel. I have a lot of, and then not to cry, you know, poor mouth or woe was me, but I'm a very small volume seller. I want to gear it up to where I can make, you know, a couple $100 a week, you know, net. That's my goal anyway. Again, I'm doing this part time. I can't. Like I can't sit for 3 hours or 2 hours in a chair. I mean, I have issues. So, Shane, you said you're very transparent. Do you share your eBay store?
No, I used to, but I actually had
issues. Why you don't? I'm just.
I actually had stopped because I had
trolls out there.
Yeah, I had so many haters coming into my store and canceling orders all the time, and so I stopped sharing it out.
Susan, if you want to Facebook friend me or whatever, and I mean, there's people that know me in here. I have mostly right now women's jeans and some new items. Right now, I have less than 100 items, and like I mentioned earlier, I got to rev this up. But my whole thing is getting healthy. If I can get 50% healthier, and I can increase my listing by 50%. I was talking to a friend of mine, or chatting with a friend of mine earlier today, and we were talking about, you know, she's having the same kind of issues, not listing enough, and her sales with the summer slowdown and not listing, her sales are tanked. So she said, what do I suggest? And I'm telling you people, do as I say, not as I do. Again,
yep.
And a lot of us have medical issues in this chat. I mean, but that's neither here nor there. But I told her what I suggested was keep some kind of accountability, whether it be making yourself, like I bought whiteboards at Dollar Tree, $1 a piece for little tiny whiteboards. You know, do a listing goal, do a daily listing goal, do a weekly listing goal, and then mark your results or print it out. I know people print out on calendars or print out a calendar, and they'll put what their goal they want to be for that day, and then they'll put what they actually did. And then set goals. There's certain groups, guys, that it wouldn't be Adam's exploits and reselling rhythm if I didn't mention Casey, the Rockstar Flipper. Casey and his pay group has accountability. I mean, he'll post like a spreadsheet, and you guys, register on there, and you put your goals, and you track them, and he tracks them for you too as well. So, I mean, you almost have to force yourself. I talk about not as often as I probably should, but my friend Darlene R, who's Norges R, Darlene, has a morning talk show, coffee talk show. And basically we just talk about life and we talk about reselling and, just life in general. And that forces me to get up. I've learned, and I hear that about retired people too. When they retire, they set in this rut. They stay up late. They get up whenever they want to get up. They don't have a routine. So I actually been told by a physician, you have to set a routine. Set your alarm on your phone. Get up a certain time. My friend Kimmy in the chat here, borderline hoarderish, she says the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 rule. And I believe Kimmy, I do it almost every day. I'll look at myself. I'll give myself 5, 10 minutes, and I'll say, you know what, Adam, what would Kimmy do? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, up. Drag myself into the, take a shower, get going, get moving, get set up for our breakfast show. But I know every morning I got to be downstairs by 8 a.m. Other days, if I felt crappy, I would just lay in bed or, and then like 2, 3 o'clock, it's like, oh, I should be doing eBay, but I got to go food shopping. Or I got to go to the drugstore. Set yourself goals, get in a routine. Yeah, Mary Beth, that's true. I mean, again, I could say all I want, and I have to practice what I preach, so to speak. But I think it's very important to set a routine.
Well, and so, Tommy didn't understand why it was so hard. So I'll tell you the situation I just got out of. I sold $16 in bottle nipples for babies on eBay. $16 worth. Okay. Shipped them out immediately after they were supposedly received or delivered. A case got opened. Item not delivered. So I contacted eBay for Business. They referred me to eBay, the corporate number. So I called the corporate number and they're like, oh, yep, we'll close this out. Definitely in your favor. So I had to fill out this thing online with the tracking, everything. And then it popped back up 2 days later after it was closed out. Tracking not delivered, refund initiated. So they took the money, refunded it, and the buyer says that they were not going to send the item back. So that's what I mean. If you go through this and the buyer fights back, you are going to go through a lot more than just one message. It's not going to be the case. So then it took me 4 days to resolve the entire issue because they refused to send the item back because it was not received. And so I couldn't issue a refund. So I had to call eBay and like 2 times, maybe it might even have been 3 times. And they finally closed it out and gave me my money back.
Well, that's true. I mean, again, some things stick with me. And when Prof Sales had his channel, Jason, who's now eating the elephant or something, Jason doesn't do a lot of YouTube anymore. Eventually, I do want to have Jason on to talk about selling books through Amazon FBA. But he always used to say VOT, value of time.
Yep.
What is your time worth? Everyone has the same amount of hours and minutes in the course of a day. What is your time worth? I know a lot of these groups people get all, I mean, your return is a big number, but sometimes people get all upset over a $15 or $20 return.
Yeah.
Take the return, move on.
Well,
yours is $150. That's a big return, but I mean, and some people are arguing over $10, $15. Your time is worth more than that.
Well, and the $16, like I got caught up on the principle. I'm like, I'm not going to give you a free
right. Well, you need to be stubborn. I'm a tourist, the bull, so I'm stubborn.
And for me, like, it's all about how you like. So I worked corporate retail for 10 years. One of the companies I worked for was Target. I worked there 2.5 years and as an executive. And I'm telling you right now, Target prides on taking every return that walks through the door, no matter what. And that was one thing I highly disagreed on because they had a lot of stuff that was going on. I think you have to really take your customer base into account and you have to train them. And you have to train your customer base that they can't just return something brand new and get all their money back, or the opposite way, they can't get free items. And a lot of sellers
use something for 3 months and then bring it back to return it and expect the full refund.
Right. And a lot of sellers,
eBay too.
Right? Like Amazon, you can. You know what I mean? But
it's crazy. And Walmart again. That's why I would never. Again, I don't. If hopefully I get a little healthier, and if I ever decide to do liquidation, I would never buy Walmart returns. I see when I go into Walmart, I see some of the stuff coming through the returns. Like I'm not buying any of that stuff.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure there's some gems in there, but it's mostly damaged stuff and, unpackaged and properly and this, that, and the other. You were with Target as team leader for quite a few years. Okay.
So I was in Champaign, Illinois as an ETL, and then I've also worked in. So I have worked in State Street, Chicago, downtown Chicago. I've worked in it was on the south side of Chicago in a store. One of the cart attendants got shot in the parking lot. I was at a store in Champaign and it got held up at gunpoint.
When you were there, when you were working?
Oh yeah. Yep.
I sold liquor. I was wholesale. I mean, I worked retail when it started, and I was selling wine and liquor wholesale. Then I went back to retail. That's where I got hurt. But I was in the store as a salesperson, 5 foot from the counter. This guy walked in with a gun. He was like 6 foot from me.
Yeah.
It's a gun at the owner. It's like, holy crap. I mean, and it's like 3 minutes from the police station. This guy was, and then the owner goes running after the guy. I'm like, he's got a gun, silly.
Yeah. Diane, I actually still have a day job right now. So my goal is to save up 2 years of income in my bank account, 2 years of salary. And then that way I have a big cushion to where if I have a bad month, I don't have any pressure on trying to get some sales right away. You know what I mean? So, but for me, it'll probably be this year. I'll probably be going full time. And then at that point, like 80% of my business is going to be Amazon.
Now, we discussed earlier, you said you're probably 60, 70% right now, Amazon?
Well, Amazon overall, I'm probably like 80, 85.
Oh, you're up to 80 now? Okay.
Yeah. Well, retail arbitrage, I'm probably like 60, 70.
Okay, that's what a retail arbitrage, but okay. But that's right, you do some wholesale, you were telling me, right?
Yeah. And so I do some wholesale on eBay, but I got my first wholesale order coming for Amazon. Should be next week or this week. I don't know exactly when. They didn't give me a guideline, but I have the tracking, so I need to get it tracked. But for RA items, I'm probably like anywhere from like 65 to 70%, just because I have books and I sell like 30, 40% books in my Amazon business. Right. So I still sell a lot of books.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because I wanted to get back to that. You had mentioned, and again, you mentioned that Scott mentions it as well, apparently, when you start out in reselling and you're new to the business. I mean, obviously everybody tells you to sell what you have in your home, your clothing, whatever you're not using. What was the woman's name, Forno, or whatever name this woman was, grab this, look at it. If you say, I don't love this, then get rid of it. Yeah. But I mean, that's how most people start out, selling things around their house that they're just not using, whether it be clothing or hard goods or whatever. And then you suggested, and I agree, learn on eBay, because eBay is a lot more forgiving than Amazon. Mm-hmm. So why don't you give us a little idea what you would suggest for a new seller, how to get involved in e-commerce?
So if you want to be a new seller and you want to get involved in e-commerce, you need to start selling on eBay first off. eBay or Mercari or Poshmark, one of those, because if you do something wrong, it's not going to matter. Like, eBay's going to slap your wrist, Poshmark's going to slap your wrist, Mercari's probably not going to care. And at that point, you can learn kind of like customer service. That's a big thing. You got to learn customer service. You have to learn other things as well. Like, I had an Amazon customer call me today on my phone, and Amazon will give them your number. That's like insane. They called me on my phone.
That is insane.
And it was pretty brutal. Like, they were mad about the pricing of the product, and what are you going to do? It's discontinued and you can't find it anywhere. So, but you want to start it on eBay or Poshmark or Mercari. You want to start selling just anything you can around your house. First off, that's the first step. And then start taking some of that money you make and flip it 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 over and over and over in thrift store merchandise and other stuff. You want to, or garage sales, like you want to start out slow. And I had like $20 in my savings account, and that's how I started it. And I started going to the thrift store, and I would buy a few items, and I'd flip them. I'd buy a few and flip.
You'd roll over the profit and purchase more and listing, right?
Yep, you just roll the profit and you flip it over and over and over and over again until it grows into something bigger. And then that's when you can start buying a little bit of wholesale once you get a little bit of money saved up for eBay. And then, if you want to get into Amazon, like you already know customer service, you already kind of know reselling. excuse me, if you want to get into Amazon, then you go into merchant fulfilled and you sell as a merchant fulfilled seller for like a year or 6 months or 4 months or however long it takes to learn the
Explain
platform.
to neophytes what merchant fulfilling means as opposed to fulfilled by Amazon.
Yeah, so merchant fulfilling is you list the item and you actually store it in your house and you ship it out.
So like you would on eBay.
Yep, absolutely. And at that point, then it's really the same velocity as eBay too. Like you're not selling anymore. You really see the velocity spike when you go into FBA.
Fulfilled by Amazon, where you ship the product, you package it, you scan it, you package it, you ship it off to Amazon, they store it, and they handle the shipping.
Absolutely.
And they handle the customer service, unless you get somebody like you that calls you on your cell phone.
Yeah, they were just mad about the price, but I'm like, hey, you can return it. Like, I'm sorry about that. Right. And they're like, oh, no, you're fine. You know, it was an older guy and he didn't read the listing. So when I put it in perspective for him, he was fine with it. That's the first time that's ever happened in a year. And the other thing is on Amazon is Amazon, if they can't answer a question, if you do FBA, they will shoot you the question and say, please answer this. That's really all you got to do. They take care of the returns. But on Amazon, and I tell this to a lot of people, but they like some of them don't get it, is Amazon is built for volume. So it's built to sell 500 to 800 units a month, which I'm doing about 500 units a month.
Are you really? Well, correct.
Yep. But it's built for that. eBay's not. I mean, by yourself, it's going to be hard. By yourself on Amazon, it's not so hard. But if you want to do that, you have to learn the rules, Amazon. And a lot of people
about doing the FBM fulfilled by the seller, or they call it fulfilled by merchant. I call it fulfilled by sellers to make it just more understandable. But you suggest doing books first.
Books or like books is probably used books would probably be the best thing to FBM first. And why that is you're going to get a taste of how Amazon does things. But like for me,
so to speak.
Yeah, like rules and customer service, because here's the thing, okay? On eBay, if someone returns something that's new, you might be able to refund them up to 50% back. On Amazon, you would be suspended for doing that. Because in the first place, if you're merchant fulfilling, if you did that, they would suspend you 100%. If you tried that, but they won't let you do that. Like there's safeguards in place for you to not do that. And if you refuse to return on Amazon, they would suspend you 100%. They don't play around. And that's why you need to learn the rules and you need to learn the culture. So the thing is with eBay is eBay looks at it as they're the platform. They're your customers. In Amazon, you're selling to Amazon's customers.
Right, they're Amazon's customers, not your customers.
Because Amazon wholesales on their own platform and eBay does not. True. And so that's why I'm so used to, like, you know, for these headphones, I'm probably just going to, you know, I might take off some money for them. But if it becomes a fiasco, I'm just going to tell eBay to forget about it because I'm used to eating that on Amazon. And my business is used to eating that money that I get in returns. I can afford it. And that's where you got to get to. And the problem is, I kid you not, dude. I have 40 boxes that are probably, I don't know, good sized boxes full of returns I have to take to the auction house.
Wow.
40 of
zero.
In the next room right over there to the side.
My word.
I have like
you have 40 boxes of books to ship in too, right?
No, I have like 3 to 4 of those to ship in.
I got things confused.
Literally just returns. I have 35 to 40 boxes of
huge boxes.
You know, they're probably like your average, not huge, large box, but they're
I working in the wine and liquor industry, like a 4-liter wine box.
yeah, probably about that size or a little bigger, and it's all returns from the first of the year to now.
Wow.
From Amazon.
And that's not a long period of time, but you're doing the volume though. You're doing 5 to 600 items per month.
Yeah.
So you're talking 3,000 items, maybe more.
Yep. I'm over 3,000 items right now.
That's incredible.
Sold for the year. Yeah.
It can be done. And then you just recently started, I think you said you had somebody help, but before that you didn't have any help, right?
So I got a lister on eBay. She's been working for me for a while. I would say probably going on probably maybe almost 2 years now.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that. I thought it was just
But I still got to take the pictures and send it to her. And that's the thing is, so eBay, that's why
doing data entry.
Yeah, that's all she does is data entry, which
you're sourcing, you're taking the pictures, and she's doing data entry, and you're handling customer service.
Yep.
You're handling shipping.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a lot when you're doing all that work for Amazon.
So, and that's where like eBay, I have actually scaled back a lot here. Like last year, I started scaling it back a lot. Like I had 200 listings on eBay in November, and people on YouTube were like, "You're full of crap. You don't have any listings on it." I'm like, "I know. I'm selling on Amazon. I'm doing like 12 grand a month.
Fish for the fish jar."
Yeah, I'm doing like $12,000 to $15,000 a month on Amazon. Why would I list a $10 item? At this point, like the reason I scaled back was I had to learn Amazon. That's why I tell people only do 2 platforms, because you have to get really good at those 2 platforms.
Now, Mary Beth asked about the books. Do you have specific videos? I know you have a ton of videos on selling books, FBM or.
I have a couple, not FBM. I have some for FBA, but FBM I don't have any actually. Just because what happened to me was I went into Fulfilled by Amazon, like our FBM. I went into it very lightly.
You said you had issues with it when you first started. You said you failed that FBM.
Yeah, and I quit.
Right.
I quit, and I quit for 2 years, and then my account sat dormant, and I didn't do anything. I put on like 50 books, and I didn't sell any for 3 months. And I finally sold one, and it was at like $2 loss. And so I did that for about a year and made a little bit of money, started turning in the green, and then I just got fed up and I quit. And I recalled, I like took all my listings and I deleted them all off my account. I deactivated my pro seller account and I stopped selling on Amazon.
Guys, that's just thunder. It's nothing serious happening in case you're hearing that. This microphone's pretty sensitive, so I don't know if you're hearing that.
But that's why, like, I quit and then I started back up because I just, like, for me, I don't quit. Like, I might take a step back, but I don't mind failure. And the thing is like on my Instagram account, I'm doing these little videos about 8 to 10 minutes on IGTV where I'm actually telling people my entire backstory. And, you know, my life hasn't been easy, and I grew up dirt freaking poor. So a lot of people, you know, are like, you know, a lot of YouTubers, like they look at a lot of sellers and YouTubers and they're like, oh, they had it easy their whole life. No, I've had a pretty rough life. And so I'm telling that whole story and my backstory. But I think that if you're a true entrepreneur, if you had a rough life, you're going to be well past everybody else, because everyone else that's really kind of not had it that bad.
You've experienced failure. I mean, you read these books from all these different, what's the word I'm looking for? Top entrepreneurs and people that what was it, Think Rich and Grow Rich and all these different books. And what was your favorite book again?
It's called How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Exactly.
By Dale Carnegie.
Dale Carnegie, exactly. But you'll read. I mean, I have that on an ebook or something, or a Kindle or something. I listen to that.
It's good, isn't it, Adam?
Yeah, and they'll hear all these various people say, I did this, that, and I failed, and I failed, and I failed, and I failed, and I finally succeeded. But I mean, that's the problem with people, and the normal person's like, they're afraid to fail.
Well, and here's my thing, okay? And I tell people this on my own channel. I tell people this on Instagram. There's resellers, okay? And in the reselling community, you have 2 people, okay? You have an entrepreneur that's in the reselling community, and they're entrepreneurs. They're like all my income, I'm looking to not make it all into reselling. I want to branch out and have different investments, but like 50% of it come from reselling. Like I want to open up different businesses, but I'm still going to resell, and I still want a lot of that to come. Like I want to be huge on Amazon. Like I want to be $1 million plus seller. But the key to being an entrepreneur is a normal millionaire has 7 streams of income. 7 streams of income.
And everyone loves the quote Gary Vee. And if, I mean, again, guys, I mentioned that before. Gary Vee is great, but he's not suitable for work. So don't play his content at work.
Right.
And drop a few expletives here and there.
They're F-bombs.
That's on the minor side when I say a few.
Oh, yeah.
He drops quite a few. but he's got some great information, and he's the ultimate marketer. I mean, he's failed and he's succeeded. I mean, he helped his father build the liquor store. Again, I told you guys before, if I mentioned in the chat earlier, I was dating someone up that way where they had their liquor store and the wine shop, and Gary built this multi-million-dollar online wine business. And then he used to do YouTube wine reviews.
Yep. That's
where he kind of got his start. He'd be like all goofy and crazy and do all kind of crazy stuff and swirling the wines around. And, and that's how he got successful. And then what happened was, I guess he wanted to be his own, deal. And then he left, and apparently his father didn't do very well in the business, kind of ran it into the ground, his father and his brother. And he came back and helped them again and brought it back. I don't even know what's going on with their business now because it's been quite a while. And then he got involved with, was it Vaynerchuk, whatever, I don't forget the title of this.
VaynerMedia.
VaynerMedia, right.
And that's the thing is I tell people this, and this is probably why I get a lot of hate in the community is because I don't sugarcoat stuff. Like, there's 2 types of resellers. There's people that are entrepreneurs that's in reselling, and there's people that work at 8 to 5 jobs for eBay. That's just how it is. Because not everybody has the key to be able to envision how an entrepreneur looks at things.
Well, that's the thing you have to, I mean, again, and I started out as an entrepreneur, and again, ultimately I would like to get back into, doing this, full-time, part-time, basically. That's my goal. But again, when I was quite a bit younger, I was all in different kind of businesses, and one of the businesses I started with a friend of mine was the alarm business, the security systems. I bought a house, and I watched this guy install this, and it wasn't even the owner; it was like an employee. I'm thinking, he did this, and he's charging me how much? And it's only so little material, and I was on a slab, and this guy was done like in a matter of like an hour or 2. I'm thinking, he probably has another 3 jobs scheduled today.
Yeah, or 15.
Short, my friend has a multi-million-dollar security business. He sells off his monitoring accounts, makes a lot of cash through that. We had a falling out of a real estate deal, but that's another story. But that was my idea. And he took it around, and I give him credit. He's like you. He's a grinder. He works. And he I wouldn't say I was the brains, but I was kind of sort of the brains, and he was the grinder, and he was a great salesperson. And he's extremely successful.
And like for Amazon, my goal is to get to be a huge seller because I'm taking a lot of that money and I'm going to reinvest it, and I'm going to buy properties. And my properties I'm going to buy are storage unit facilities. I'm going to buy storage unit facilities, and I'm going to rent the units out. I'm going to hire someone to take care of them. And at one point, if you have 100 large units, 100 medium units, 10 by 12, 14 by 16, or 18 or whatever they are, you can make $330,000 off of one facility every year.
Right, that's an annuity that comes in every month. That money comes in.
Yep. And that's the key is a lot of people are like
cash flow. Well, right. Cash, but credit flow, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
Constant income.
And it'll be umbrellaed right underneath my reselling business.
Right.
And that's where you got to look at it like, what are you going to do with your money once you make it?
I mean, and the maintenance, I mean, other than roofing and replacing garage doors and stuff, I mean, it's all the same stuff, just different size units.
I mean, because you got to think, these people selling $1 million+ on eBay, there are $1 million+ sellers. They don't just do eBay. They do other stuff as well.
That's true.
Because if they have a bad year, what are they going to do?
Right.
They're probably going to have to take out a working capital PayPal loan, and then they're going to be in debt for the next 3 years. And then they're going to be upside down in cash flow the entire time.
Right. Well, let's roll on a couple things towards the end here, and then we'll open up the questions. So we're pushing the 1 hour mark here. I just wanted to write down a few things. We've talked about the different platforms. Why don't you give us some bolos on, again, unusual things that we would typically find, yard sales, thrift shops, yard sales, thrift shops, garage sales, estate sales, typical bolos that we might be walking by, and they're, that you would say, guys, you're walking by, huge profits.
So here's a good one right here. I I have a printer sitting back there. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm actually going to send it into Amazon after I test it. It sells good on eBay too. But here's the thing. So it's an Epson artesian printer. Okay, I bought it for 50 cents, and on Amazon used it sells for $450.
Used.
Used on eBay it sells for like 300 to 350 used. Brand new.
I guess with Amazon shipping, what's it going to cost you? $25-$30 to ship that?
Oh no, I'll FBA it. And I'll probably make 300.
Well, I meant to ship it. What would it cost you to ship that into Amazon?
Oh, I ship. So basically, like I just ship in 50-pound boxes, and typically, I just shipped out yesterday a 46-pound box for $7.
Wow, that's incredible. And we got to pay $4 for like 9 ounces.
Well, and here's the thing: I tell, like, not to get off on a tangent. Like I'm gonna go over some more bolos, but really quick. I tell people this, you know, when it comes to mine, Amazon's not the downfall of eBay. It's not going to be the death of eBay. The post office is going to be the death of eBay.
True.
And so for me, like that printer, here's another good one. I was in a thrift store last summer, and I seen these 2 smoke detectors sitting up. It was actually
yep.
It was actually like a.
It's Kitty, right? KIDDE.
Yeah, but it was like a Christian thrift store, and they were just setting up there, and they were a model. I forgot the model number, but you wired them in, and they were the sleek model where you can't see them hardly, and they don't make them anymore. I scanned one of those, and I about fell over. I'm like, there's no way these are selling. And I sold them on eBay, mind you. And I'm like, they were selling for over $300 a piece, and I paid $2 a piece for them.
And there was 2 of them.
2 of them, and I sold them both to the same person for $640 in 1 week. In 1 week, 600.
Even with fees, you made over $500.
Oh, I made over $500 on one pickup. You know what I mean?
Jeez.
So, like, if you see stuff new in the package at thrift stores and it's like a smoke detector,
Yeah.
don't walk by it. Scan it.
Yep.
You know, that's a huge thing. Is those smoke detectors probably set up there for 2 weeks or a month or maybe longer, and all 200 people walk by them.
Passed by, exactly.
Yep. So I think a lot of things as a reseller is you got to look at what people are passing by, not necessarily the easy things like video games and NES systems. Yeah, they're fun to pick up, and when you pick them up, you can make money. But on what's the market look like? You know, what's the strategy for selling it quick? And for me, I really like to sell a lot of things quick.
Yeah. That's the key.
Another good one is board games. So I have a Dark Tower board game that's been sitting back there for about 6 months. I'm probably going to list it here pretty soon when I get time. But if I piece it out, I'm probably going to make $400 or $500 on it. And if I sold it as is, the box is kind of broke. I'd probably make I think it's going for like $300.
Now, why is that? I mean, I never even heard of that. Is that some kind of?
It is a super rare game. And it's Dark Tower. It has like this little electronic tower. It has like dragons and stuff, and it's kind of a crazy game.
Kind of like Dungeons and Dragons, that's kind of thing.
Kind of like that, and it just has this tower, and it's a board game. And it's like the Hero Quest. You just can't find them anymore.
That was one of the reasons I do have a few board games I want to list. But the shipping can be expensive. So you can't use cubic shipping after a certain size, right?
No, board games.
A board game, if it's 24 by 9 or whatever.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know this, but I go on the USPS website, and I was looking up there and on a shelf I have, because I have actually board game priority boxes.
They have board game priority boxes.
Yep, and all they are board game priority boxes.
How are they? Any idea how the code number? How is that listed as that board game?
Let me go get one. Give me 1 second.
Okay. Some great tips here, guys. I hope you guys are taking notes. These are a wealth of information.
All right, so this right here that I have is a board game priority box.
Never knew it even existed.
See the little chess pieces on there?
Oh, look at that, right on it.
And the number, give me a second here. Let me turn my volume up.
I've never ever seen anybody talk about that, or I've never seen it in the wild or anywhere. I'm sure.
So here's the thing.
You have to order it online from USPS.com.
Yes. So this is actually charged as a large flat rate box.
It ships. Craig's saying ships at large flat rate, doesn't it?
But you can cut it down and just use normal any priority boxes you can cut down, even if they're flat rate. But you have to ship it the priority price.
You have to ship it priority mail, but it doesn't have to be priority flat rate. You can resize it.
The reason I buy these is because I resize them. They fit almost any single board game in there. And you can literally just slide them in there and then just resize it. And you can get the dimensions down a little lower for some cheaper pricing.
I'm assuming you use one of the professional style. I don't have it, but the box resizers. There you go. That's it.
Right here, I have like two of these laying around.
That is it. I definitely have to learn it. That's something I need to learn.
And
like you said, you'll find those out in the wild at yard sales and garage sales, and
the number on it is if you want to search it on USPS website, the barcode number is PS 0011 000074, and the other number on it is 2 D as in David, P as in Paul, C O N as in Nancy, 13 B as in boy, 0008.
It's a lot of numbers. I'll look that up, guys, and I'll post it in the show notes.
So those are two separate numbers. I don't know which one they go off of.
I'll look that up and I'll post it in the description.
I ordered like 100 of them, and I mean I don't sell 100 board games a year.
Right.
So I just ordered 100 and I just store them.
So that's a bolo looking to scan it, the various games, and if you see something unusual, was it take it to scan it, and eBay has the you can scan the barcodes, or sometimes it works if you take a picture.
Yep. And so I'm looking to see. Yeah, someone says it ships large flat rate, and I'm like, yeah, it does, but you can always just cut them down and ship them.
Resize it with a box resizer, and it just ships at a flat rate price.
The reason I like using these is because the cardboard's really light, and it compared to a normal box that you would get like a normal brown box. These are way lighter, but I will put air pillows in between the board game and the box if it's not as snug, and just put air pillows on the front and back side.
So you put it on the ends and also on the top and bottom?
Yep.
Okay.
I'll put a couple air pillows in the bottom, drop it in there, resize the box, put an air pillow on top, seal it up, ship it out, and it's as easy as that. And I don't have to hunt for the box. The box is just sitting right here.
Right, you have it.
I just grab it.
Again, this is Shane, not Chris, but that's a pro tip.
Yeah, that's a great tip. But I mean that's the thing. Like, a lot of people, like I used to do it too. I still do dumpster dive for my boxes.
Okay.
But for board games, it's so hard to find a box in the dumpster that fits. Yeah,
it's unusual size. That's why I was concerned about it.
It's hard. And I wanted to sell more board games. Like, I've sold Monopoly games for $40-$50 before. I mean, I bought a Monopoly Chicago edition, sold it for like $48.
What's the one that everybody was trying to find? It came out like 6 months ago.
Monopoly for Millennials.
Yes.
Yeah, I sold about 140 of those on Amazon.
140?
Yeah.
Okay.
136, something.
Holy cow!
I'll be honest with you, Adam. So that game was about right when it had been a few months after I had started selling on Amazon. My cash flow still was not great, but that deal was the deal that broke me in the RA. I had to buy all those games on credit cards.
Oof.
And I had to flip them, and I flipped them and made a good amount of money, because the problem is if you don't ever want to do that, like, because credit cards are dangerous, and I still mess with credit cards sometimes to buy merch with, but that's only for the discounts now.
Yeah, you got to be very careful.
Or the cash back. You just got to be sure that you pay them off every month.
Right.
So with this board game, the Monopoly for Millennials, I didn't have money to spend on it. My cash flow was upside down still. I had to put like over $3,000
on cards. Wow.
I mean, I have a credit card.
I have pretty good credit. I mean, it's not excellent, but it's like a smidge below excellent. Yeah. And my credit rate is like 24%. It's like, seriously?
Yeah. And I mean, my credit score right now is like over 800. Over 800.
Right.
And I mean, I have a credit card that has a $35,000 limit.
Wow. Okay.
So, but I had to put like over $3,000 on these credit cards
Sure.
on one credit card to literally buy all these games. And I made several, like, I think I made like pretty close to $4,000, double my money.
Even with everything. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what really broke me in the RA
Right.
game is I had that one big deal.
You got the bug, like people when they're going thrifting, they're treasure hunting, so to speak.
Right.
So you got the bug when you made that kind of return.
But also kind of built my bankroll up to be able to buy RA, because in retail arbitrage, you just have to have a little bit of a bankroll.
True.
So another good thing at garage sales is look for stuff that's like out of the ordinary. So I went to one garage sale. I actually got them sitting right here. I still got to list them. Give me a second. I'll pick them up for you.
Guys, if you have any questions, we're going to be closing it down in a little bit because Shane's got a lot of work to do, I'm sure, and appreciate his time. So if you have any questions, can you put like question marks or question in caps and do question, and you can answer a few questions for us?
I went to a garage sale and I got all these rock and roll vinyls in one garage sale for I think it was like $15. And there's like an Ozzy Osbourne record in here that sells for like $60.
Now, is that on eBay?
Oh, I'll be listing it soon. Yeah, I'm gonna list them up. I just got these in the other day. I had to order some record boxes for them. So
yeah, what do you use for that? I was going to reach out to a friend of mine that sells a lot of media. What do you use for your record boxes?
So I just get on eBay or Amazon and I order these. They're quad-rated white boxes and they fit any size LP. So you virtually just put them in. Just
you
like
type
this.
that in the chat. Then I don't understand. It's quad-rated, you said?
It's like the what's it called?
Not corrugated.
Corrugated, yeah, corrugated.
Corrugated. And they say LP box on the.
Yep.
Okay.
And you ship them out just like that, and virtually, I mean, you can really find any box on eBay or, but mainly just eBay, and I buy them in bulk. So I'll buy I think I bought like 400 of them.
Where they come in like 30, 40 cents a piece?
Yeah, I probably bought them for about 40 cents a piece. They just fit a record in just like this.
That's not bad.
And they hold any size of record.
So that's something you're going to look at, especially if you get them inexpensively, right?
Yeah.
Sales and
the best thing is these are good for books too, for media mail.
Right.
So I'll put a book in here and I'll just fold it up and then I'll ship it out media mail, and it just saves me from looking for a box.
Yeah, guys, if you're not using media mail, and again, Shane, you probably have the regulations better than I do. Once you explain the media mail and what you can ship via media mail.
Yeah, media mail, you can ship CDs, I believe, CDs, DVDs, anything with media content on it, but you cannot ship blank media. You cannot do that. You can ship books as long as they don't have advertisements in the book. So
you can't ship magazines because they have advertisement.
Or comic books.
Why not comic books? It's just
they have ads in the back.
Okay.
So a lot of old comic books have all these ads in the back. So I mean, you might be able to find a loophole, but for me, it's easy. Like, I just don't want, because a lot of the post office will open those boxes up and go through them. And here's the thing, by media mail, if you let's say you ship a comic book, or not a comic book, but like just a regular book, and you ship it in a box media mail, you can throw air pillows in it. You can throw all that stuff to protect it. But if you hand write a letter and put it in there, or any kind of a thank you card, it's no longer considered media mail.
I did that once. It's like, this is a violation. I know it's a violation. I put a little thank you card, and it's like, I know it's a violation, but
yeah, it's no longer considered media mail.
Exactly. So, right.
I mean, you might get by with it a lot. Like, I don't know how.
Well, that's one of the things they can. They have carte blanche to open any media mail package and search it. Yeah. They don't need your permission. I mean, they can just open it, carte blanche.
Right. And I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. I don't know how often they search those. I don't know. But I'm not going to take the risk.
Speaking of pro tips, our thrift shop hustler, Chris, is in the chat.
Chris, what is up?
I shouted you out about 3 times today, Chris.
Chris is a good guy.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, we collabed here pretty recently.
You two guys have a lot in common. You're willing to give back to the community, and you're transparent, and you're just all around great guys.
Yep, I appreciate that, Adam, definitely. And Chris is a great dude, man. We had a lot of fun. He had a lot of fun, and
He's a good man. Yep.
he has a ton of knowledge as well.
Oh my word, he does.
A ton.
I'm sorry to ask him questions like, how does he know that?
Oh yeah, like my
he has a
knowledge.
dream
compared
job
to
now
his
working
is
for the American Cancer Society and running their eBay stores in the I guess Southern California, and then running their retail shops too in Southern California.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely.
Okay,
And
I
so,
think that was about it, Shane. Oh, that's one thing I wanted you to show us is your hand flipping negotiation technique.
all right, so can you hear me?
Yes.
So a lot of the times, like what I like to do is when I go to a yard sale, what I like to do is like when I negotiate, my first goal is to read the person doing the yard sale. So that's having the yard sale. So I read a lot of people really well because so for me, my corporate retail experience is in asset protection and loss prevention. So I did 10 years of asset protection management where I would interview employees for theft, all sorts of crazy stuff. And so for me, I like to read the person and kind of listen. And if they are dealing with people, that's the green light that you can make a deal.
So you kind of like overhear how they're doing business and you try to get a feel for them.
Yep. So like the lady that with the Teddy Ruxpin dolls that you seen,
right?
Like I went there and she said,
I love that. I can watch that 100 times, that video.
She said, I took these out of my antique booth, so don't worry about the prices. And I said, okay. And it was like over $100 for just the bears.
Right. She actually had price tags, the stickers.
Yes.
Stickers with price tags hanging from them.
Yes.
And you wanted to sell those for.
And
disregard the prices. You guys, that's what you say. It's negotiable or something to that effect.
Yeah, she said it's negotiable because these came out of my antique booth.
Right.
And so they had like probably $80 on all three bears
that
combined.
Was crazy. Yeah.
And I picked them all up and I went over to the box and I said, "You said you negotiate, right?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I said $5 for everything. And she went,
"No, but you showed us the hand trick."
And then I was like, and she's like,
and then you put that into the clothes. You had to throw in the clothes too.
Yeah. Yeah. And I had to throw in the whole box of vintage clothing, which I dug through the box and found a bunch of sealed Teddy Ruxpin figurines.
$5.
Yeah. And so for me, like I read her. So when I walked into the yard sale, she was already dealing with people and they were offering her much higher things. She's like, I have to get rid of this stuff. So when I walked up, I had filmed it and then I turned the camera off and I didn't catch it because I wasn't coherent. Like sometimes I think I'm filming and I'm not. Well, I wasn't filming. And she was dealing with this guy and he got a killer deal on a few things. And she's like, I got to get rid of this stuff. She's like, I'll make you, like he got like 10 items for like $10. And so I'm like, she's already dealing with people. So she's willing to deal, but she's going to come off like she don't want to. And that's when I came in and said $5.
Counter. I was shocked. She said,
no.
It's like, seriously?
And I mean,
it was his hands. Was that some kind of hypnosis or something?
And she just stared at me like I was the biggest piece of crap in the world.
Okay.
And I'm like, but see, like for me, I love to negotiate.
Right.
But I like to get stuff for cheap and sell it for a lot because that's the excitement.
Sure.
Amazon doesn't excite me. I love selling on Amazon, but it doesn't excite me.
Pays the bills.
Selling on eBay excites me and finding really cool vintage
stuff, collectibles. Right.
Yep. Amazon's not fun. Like everyone's like, oh, it's so amazing. It's really not fun. It's work.
It's hard work.
And if you want to be successful on Amazon, treat it like a job. You will be. And but if you want to be successful on eBay, you just it's really hard to get and scale an eBay business unless you treat it like Amazon, which I can sell new stuff on eBay and I can kill it. But I don't want to sell new stuff on eBay.
And you don't want to inventory it. You don't want to store it. You want to ship it to them and let them handle it.
Right. I want to sell.
That's the only way you can gear up and do volume is to have them ship it.
I want to sell black bear rugs on eBay and all sorts of crazy stuff. I don't want to sell that on eBay.
Right.
And that's why I sell a ton of like just really cool stuff. Now I have to list a bunch of stuff, but I'll have more listings in my store come up, and I'm pretty sure like there's a lot of resellers that found my store, which is cool. Like, and they're following me, and I don't care about that. Like on eBay, that's fine.
Yeah, you just
Like,
you don't want the haters and the trolls to go in and
right. And when I first started YouTube, I'd give them
still bidding and stuff like that and all that weird
yep.
stuff.
Yep.
You
And when I first
you don't do auctions per se, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. And when I first started YouTube, I gave out my eBay store to everybody. And I started having some issues down the road.
I hear nightmares like Casey the Rockstar Flipper. I think he has 2 or 3 stores on eBay, and one is public, and the other one where he does the volume is private.
Yep. I have 2. I have 2 stores, and the first store I gave out, it was on YouTube when I first started. The second store, no one knows,
right?
And it's cool because I've had people that went into my main store, and they're like, "I seen you on YouTube." And they give me an offer for some gloves, and I accept it because they still offer a good deal, and I still want to give them a good deal.
What was that? What were you selling? You had a lot of what was it you were trying to sell? Do you still have that? Like a whole warehouse full of something, or
work gloves?
Padded envelopes or something?
Oh, padded envelopes. Yeah, I bought like.
Are you done with all those, or you still have some?
So I sold 40,000.
40,000.
I sold 40,000 on eBay and YouTube, and I had about 35,000 left, and I sold them to a guy. So I made a video, and I'm like, I want to sell these to someone. Here's the thing. They're going to make money on them.
Okay.
I was just tired of shipping them out. I was selling like 4
You had
boxes.
75,000 padded envelopes.
I had over 80,000.
Over 80,000 padded
probably
envelopes.
And that's a rough estimate. I sold at least 40,000.
Wow.
At least. And I got really sick of shipping them out, and I made a good profit. And the problem is I would have people order 4 boxes at a time. So I would shrink wrap them together and tape the boxes together, and I just got sick of it. And so after about the 40,000th one I sent out, I made a post on YouTube. And
after about the 40,000, like it was nothing. 40,000.
and so I mean, because there would be several that came in a box, and I just posted a YouTube video. I'm like, I want to make someone a great deal, and I want them to make money. I'm tired of shipping these out. And people were like, "You're full of crap. You didn't sell." I did sell a lot. Like I sold a crap ton. Scott could verify because every night he'd be like, "Call me. What are you doing?" I'm like, "Shipping out padded envelopes." He's like, "How many you got today to ship out?"
Padded envelopes.
How many you got today to ship out? I'm like, "Oh, 900." Like
2,000.
And he's like, "Oh, that sucks." I'm like, "Yep." And so I sold them to someone. He reached out to me on YouTube. He's a reseller in Iowa, and I sold the whole thing, the whole storage unit to him for a killer deal. But what would even make you more sick is that 80,000 I bought for $150.
$150.
Yeah.
What is that in fractions of cents? I can't even do the math.
It's too many, and they were all they were all still case packed and brand new boxes. They had multiple quantities per case pack, and I just sold them by the case pack.
Decimals, like decibels. That's music.
It was horrible.
All right,
will
guys,
I do it again? Probably.
Yeah. Mods, I know it's kind of last second, but I want to kind of clear everything up for Shane. Is there any questions? I mean, pressing questions that we may have missed that Shane can answer a question or two, and then I'll thank him and let him get back to his 80. We don't have any more envelopes, but I'll get back to his business. Let's put it that way. Were there any questions, Kimmy, Kathleen?
Yeah, and I'm like literally down to answer anything. Like I am super transparent. Like eBay is not where a lot of my research.
Michelle, any questions? So. Doesn't look like there's. I mean, I know there's a little bit of lag, but right here's a question from Kathleen.
Oh, she asked that 3 times, and I missed it all 3. So,
sorry, Kathleen.
What was your best profit flip? Okay. So if you're talking about like multiple quantity items, I've had a ton of great flips on Amazon. So the iHome mirrors and the Monopoly from Millennials games were probably my 2 best. But on eBay, the padded envelopes were like the best quantity thing I bought for the flip because I made a crap ton of money off those. But single item, probably one of the best flips I had was I bought a pair of shoes at a thrift store for $2 and sold them for 265.
Holy cow! What brand?
In 10 minutes.
In 10 minutes.
And I literally brought them home.
In the thrift store?
I literally brought them home after I bought them. In 10 minutes, I sat down, I posted them on Instagram and sold them for $265.
And you avoided fees because you sold it through Instagram.
And I literally didn't even, I was halfway through the eBay listing on making it. And I sold them that quick.
What brand were they?
They were actually a pair of vintage lacrosse Bart Starr edition canvas shoes.
For $260.
$265.
Okay.
And Bart Starr is a football player.
Oh yeah, well yeah, I guess there are a lot of the ladies don't know, but I know who Bart Starr is.
and he came out with these canvas shoes, and they were like straight 60s, 70s.
They were like Chuck Taylors.
and lacrosse is a huge name,
yes.
like in outdoor equipment.
Yeah.
And those shoes, I met a really cool contact. Like I sold them on Instagram, and the guy said, I'm a collector. And he sent me 3 30-gallon totes full, a picture of all of those shoes that he's collected over the years. He had 3 30-gallon totes full of those shoes.
Wow.
And he said, if you find any more, contact me. I will pay you retail for them.
No kidding.
He lived in LA, and I made a couple contacts. I had like 10 DMs off those shoes. And I met people that collected vintage clothing, and they said, if you find this kind of stuff, send me a picture and I will PayPal you instantly. No questions asked.
Chris, the thrift shop fusser, wants to know if you've listed your Dark Tower set yet, your game.
Dude.
LOL.
It's still back there. It's still back there. I promise I'm going to listen.
Still back there, Chris.
I promise I'm still going to listen soon.
Yeah, we got better up before you got here, Chris.
Oh, I know. No, there's this one guy in the chat. He's like a follower, and he gives me a hard time. And I was on Chris's channel. He's like, dude, you still haven't listed that. I'm like, oh man, I get it.
Maria's asking how much did you sell the Teddy Ruxpin for? Have you sold that yet?
I haven't listed him yet.
Haven't listed him yet?
Haven't even listed him yet. I am so behind on eBay listings. I'm telling you. Right now, like I'm not even kidding you, Adam. I am probably sitting on like $8,000 to $10,000 in eBay inventory. Easy.
Right. Well, obviously, I mean, Amazon pays the bills. I mean, you got to do.
I mean, I got NES consoles back there. I got like $85 video card. I got NES games that are selling for $150. Not even listed yet.
Oh, look at that. Kathleen knows what that is. She used to play with her husband.
Yeah.
And friends every Saturday night.
Yep. I literally got one Sony Handycam that's still in the box, brand new.
Brand new.
Yeah. Manuals and everything. And I haven't even listed it yet.
Oh, jeez.
I got Betamax players. I got all sorts.
Betamax. Oh god.
Oh yeah, I got like I forgot what brand it is. It's like Hitachi or it's something. It's a Betamax player, and it's like worth $250.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
I buy all this stuff for eBay, and then I just sit on it forever, and then eventually I get to list in it, and I list it. Chris probably got a lot of he probably got a lot of laughs out of that though. about that Dark Tower game.
Was that pretty much it, guys? Because I want to keep Shane much longer here, so I guess that was pretty much it, right, for the questions. You see anything floating there?
I don't see anything else in the chat.
Let me thank you, and I'll do my closing. If you could just wait for like 1 minute after the show there.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, guys. Again, I told you guys. Shane is a wealth of information, and he's just one of the really good guys in the reselling community. He and Chris, that's in our chat now, they're just good people, extremely knowledgeable. They work their rear ends off, and they're willing to share, and they're willing to help others. And I don't know how to put this, but there are some people that are like actually good people. There's other people on YouTube that are not so good people, and there's some people that are just, I tell you guys, I'm not an expert on anything. I just want to help people, and I enjoy doing this, and that's why I do it. And I love learning. I take notes, and I'll go back and I'll watch this video 15 times because I want to improve my YouTube skills, but I also want to improve my reselling skills. So I'll take notes. Shane said this. Shane said to do this. Shane, and I'll take notes, and I'm going to eventually keep a doc, Google Doc or whatever with all these different tips, and that way, if I have a question, instead of bothering somebody, sending them a message on Messenger or whatever, I'll have all these different tips and bolos and whatnot. So again, I want to thank Shane for his time. Guys, I know we call this technically e-bagging, But I'm going to meet with Shane when I get to eBay Open, which is in a little less than 3 weeks. And I'm floating just above that 1,000 mark. So would appreciate your help. If you guys aren't subscribed, if you came over from Fortunes or Reselling Group or whatever, I could use the subs. I have some great people on. I had Chris, who's in our chat. I've had Casey the Rockstar Flipper. I've had Jason Deason. I've had jewelry sellers, Thelma Thrift, all kind of people that are resellers. April, that's in our chat, is one on my show. Kimmy's been on my show. Borderline Hoarder. So a lot of great resellers and a lot of great information. And for the most part, they're all great people. Crystal is in the chat. She's a great lady too. We're going to meet with Crystal. She lives in Las Vegas. We'll meet with her at the eBay Open as well. So wanted to thank Shane. And again, guys, like, subscribe, comment, and click on the notification bell so you get notifications when I come on. And we shall see you next time. Thanks again.